हम कुछ जो अभी 2026 में Dsssb Prt के पेपर्स हुए हैं उसके कुछ मेमोरी बेस्ड क्वेश्चंस करेंगे। तो पार्ट बी के क्वेश्चंस हैं ये कुछ, तो एक एक करके देखते हैं। इन दी कॉन्टेक्स्ट ऑफ इंक्लूसिव एजुकेशन विच अपॉर्चुनिटीज इज इंक्लूडेड इन इंक्लूजन। तो इसमें ऑप्शंस हैं opportunities to participate in the full range of social activities, opportunities of arts, sports and music। तो ये हमें दोनों ही सही लग रहा है, तो इसका बोथ 1 और 2 हो जाएगा। तो इसमें ये है होलिस्टिक स्कोप ऑफ इंक्लूसिव एजुकेशन से ही है ये, और इसमें ये चेक किया जा रहा है कि डू यू थिंक इंक्लूजन जस्ट मीन्स पुटिंग डिसेबल्ड किड्स इन अ मैथ्स क्लास और डज इट कवर द होल स्कूल एक्सपीरियंस। तो इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि डिसेबल्ड बच्चों को मैथ क्लास में डाल देना है ना, और इसका मतलब ये भी हो सकता है कि ये भी हो सकता है, नहीं यही है कि हम एक बच्चे को फुल होल एक्सपीरियंस प्रोवाइड करें, होल रेंज ऑफ सोशल एक्टिविटीज़ और अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ प्रोवाइड करें ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा आर्ट्स, स्पोर्ट्स और म्यूज़िक में, ठीक है, जो भी उसकी क्षमता है उसके अनुसार। तो इसमें थिंकिंग academics is the only mandate of RTE RPWD एक्ट्स, तो ये यहाँ पे ट्रैप हो सकता है, तो ऐसा नहीं है इसमें। थिंकिंग academics is the only mandate, सिर्फ academics के बारे में बात की गई है, ऐसा नहीं है। RTE और RPWD में उसमें होलिस्टिक डेवलपमेंट की बात करी गई है। और ट्रू इंक्लूसिव एजुकेशन रिक्वायर्स इक्विटेबल एक्सेस टू द एंटायर स्कूल लाइफ। A child with a disability must not be left in the school classroom while others play sports or do art. So it creates a discrimination and it will be very harmful for everyone, including the kids who are uh, affected or who is vulnerable and who are normal. So it is harmful and it will affect negatively for both of the kids in a negative way. And inclusion covers social, cultural, academic and physical domains. So both 1 and 2 are correct. So next question is, which of the following process refers to sharing of ideas, facts, opinions, information and understanding? So communication is the answer. So basic definition in educational communication, here is it's the core concept, and surface level vocabulary kind of question is this. And communication is fundamentally the two-way process of sharing messages, ideas, facts, opinions between a sender and receiver to achieve a shared understanding. So not nothing more than this in this question. So next question is, which of the following are considered constructive use of ICT in the classroom? So I am going to directly give you the correct answer. So here the correct answer will be option B, which says 1 and 3 only. Word processors for reflective writing, drill and practice software only, this is negative, so we will eliminate this. And multimedia presentation for concept visualization, yeah, this will be helpful. So constructivist versus behaviorist use of ICT is checking here, and examiner is checking, can we differentiate between technology used for deep learning versus rote memorization. So assume the trap could be the second option, assuming all software is constructive. So it is not true, all software is not constructive, some are for drill and practice as well, which is not very favorable in constructive domain. And word processors allow for editing, drafting and deep reflection, which says option 1, and it will be good. Multimedia allows for visualizing complex models, yeah, this will be also true. However, drill and practice software, which says in option 2, is purely behaviorist, rote repetition and memorization. It does not promote active construction of the new concept. So now next question: which of the following statement regarding adolescent cognition development is correct? So I'm going to tell the exact answer. Option B, which says both 1 and 2. One is adolescents considered many possible ways of solving a problem. True. Adolescents develop an egocentrism that consists of an imaginary audience and personal fable. Yeah, this is also true as per the Jean Piaget. So the concept is Alkine's adolescent egocentrism and Piaget's formal operations. So here examiners is checking, do you know the dual nature of the teenage brain? Advanced logic plus high self-consciousness. So thinking egocentrism only belong to 2 to 7 years old, which is pre-operational. So it could be the trap. So we will eliminate if we see these options: thinking, egocentrism, these kind of. So here option 1, statement 1 says hypothetical deductive reasoning, which is formal operational stage where teens can map out multiple abstract solutions. And in option 2 refers to David Elkind's adolescent egocentrism, featuring the imaginary audience. Everyone is watching me and the personal fable. I am unique, I am invincible, these kind of things. So both are defining hallmarks of education. So I would like to explain more about David Elkind's adolescent uh, egocentrism, which is not very popular. So let's see a little bit about this. So it describes, it is given in, it was given in 1967, and it describes a developmental stage where teenagers, due to cognitive shifts in Piaget's formal operational stage, struggle to distinguish distinguish their own perspective from those of others. This lead to the imaginary audience, feeling constantly watched, judged, and the personal fable, believing they are unique and invincible, these kind of things. So imaginary audience is the concept here. Personal fable, imaginary audience, like everybody is watching me. Social anxiety, consciousness, excessive grooming or fear of embarrassment, embarrassment and personal fable, which means you just don't understand me, and kind of feel that their experience, feelings and thoughts are unique, special and misunderstood by others. And invulnerability, invincibility fable, a component of the personal fable where teens believe they are immune to dangers, leading to reckless behavior like dangerous driving, unprotected sex, or substance abuse. These kind of things. So they are tend to take risk taking behavior, reckless behavior. So cause and effect, cognitive development, it will affect our cognitive development as adolescents gain the ability to think abstractly. They can conceptualize their own thoughts and subsequently the thoughts of others, but they fail to differentiate the two. Self focus, the shift often leads to a psychological metamorphosis where the teen is so focused on their own changing body and self image that they assume others are too. Social impact, it can result in social withdrawal, isolation, or high emotional volat- volatility volatility, as minor setback feel like catastrophic public failures. Passing of the stage, the egocentrisms, typically fades as adolescents develop a firmer sense of identity and gain more mature social experiences, allowing them to realize that others are not focused on them as they previously thought. So this is a David L. Kind's adolescent egocentrism. Next question is about assertion and reasoning. Assertion is Vygotsky emphasized the social nature of learning. Reason is cognitive development is best explained by biological maturation alone. So correct answer is C. A is true but R is false. So here's the explanation: Vygotsky's sociocultural theory versus maturational theories. So the examiner is checking, do you know exactly what Vygotsky fought against? Skimming the reason and assuming it generally belongs to developmental psychology could be the trap. So we have to read all these statements carefully. The examiner is checking our attention to detail. So Vygotsky believed culture and social interaction drive learning. So assertion A is true. He explicitly argued against the idea that biological maturation alone dictates development, which was Piaget's lean. Therefore, reason R is definitely false. Again, assertion and reasoning question. In Vygotsky's theory, scaffolding involve providing temporary support to learner to help them achieve tasks they cannot complete independently. So yeah, it's true. And the reason is the purpose of this support is to help student bridge the gap between their current ability and the learning goal, and it is gradually removed as the learner becomes more competent. So yeah, both are true, and R is the correct explanation of A. So yeah, Brunner's or Vygotsky's scaffolding inside the ZPD. So examiner is checking the precise mechanical definition of scaffolding. Scaffolding is temporary support given by a more knowledgeable others. Assertion A. And the reason it is given is specifically to navigate the zone of proximal development ZPD and fade out gradual removal as the student achieves autonomy. Reason R. So R perfectly explains the mechanism and purpose of A. Next, at which level of Kohlberg's moral development does individual ethical behavior mainly depends on the mindset that what do people think of me? So it is conventional. We already know about this. Kohlberg's model development of stages. Uh, so here, examiners checking, can we identify the social approval stage, which is conventional stage, confusing it with the pre-conventional, which is based purely on avoiding punishment or getting rewards. So the conventional level, specifically stage 3, good boy good girl orientation, is entirely driven by social conformity. The individual obeys rules to gain approval from family, teachers, and peers, constantly asking, what will people think of me? So these kind of things. Next is, according to Erickson's theory of psychosocial development, the primary crisis faced by an elementary school child 11 to 14 is identity versus role confusion. It is the straightforward answer. Erickson's 8 stages of psychosocial development. The question or topic is from that topic, and the examiner is checking matching specific ages to the correct psychosocial crisis. The wording says elementary school child, which gives the ages 11 to 14, which in India is upper primary, early adolescence. If you read elementary, you and pick industry versus inferiority 6 to 11, you will get it wrong. So be careful about this. It is the uh, trap. It could be the trap. So don't choose industry versus inferiority here, because it ranges from ages 6 to 11. And pay attention to the age bracket 11 to 14 years. This is the onset of adolescence. The crisis here is identity versus role confusion, where the child explores peer groups, values, and asks, "Who am I?" Next question is, a teacher emphasizes LSRW skills through a variety of communicative tasks rather than teaching them in isolation. Okay, so this strategy aligns with the correct answer is modern communication trends. So language pedagogy, communicative language teaching, CLT. So examiner is checking, do we know how modern language teaching integrates listening, speaking, reading, and writing? And the trap could be rule based structuralism, which is in option C. Sounds technical, but it is an outdated grammar translation method. So in the real world, we don't just read or listen in a vacuum. We read a text and discuss it, or listen to a prompt and write a reply. Integrating LSRW through meaningful tasks is the hallmark of modern communicative approach. Next question is, what does multilingualism as a resource mean in school education? So the correct answer is making use of language of learners in the classroom. Multilingualism, which NCF 2005 and NAP 2020 emphasized upon. And here examiner is checking, do we understand that children's mother tongue are assets, not obstacles? So option A is the kind of trap, teaching many languages. So is a common misconception of what multilingualism means pedagogically. So treating multilingualism as a resource means a teacher actively uses the diverse home languages the students bring to the classroom to bridge their understanding to the target language and the curriculum. It is a it is a cognitive tool, not just adding more language subjects. It is a cognitive tool, not just adding more language subjects. Next question is, which of the following pair is correctly matched in the context of evaluation? So correct answer is option D, which says neither one nor two, because continuous evaluation, uh, the final grade at the end of the session, comprehensive evaluation, regularity of assessment. So uh, actually here the options are flipped with each other, so that's why neither one nor two is correct, or both are incorrect. So CCE is the topic here. D- Examiner is checking, do we memorize the definitions, or do we actually know what the words mean? So the trap is the examiner completely flipped the definitions. Continuous means regular, ongoing assessment throughout the year. The paper matched it with final grade, which is false. It should be continuous. And the comprehensive means accessing all aspects, scholastic and co-scholastic, of a child's development. The paper matched it with regularity, which is false. Regularity means continuous assessment. So therefore neither one nor two is matched correctly. Now next question is, which of the following protective factors can help children and adolescents overcome stress and contribute to resilience? So the correct answer is option C, which says both 1 and 2. Good family relationship and cognitive functioning. So the concept here is child psychology, resilience and coping. Examiner is checking understanding of internal and external protective factors. Okay, so protective factors can help children and adolescents overcome stress to contribute to resilience, and candidates might not think cognitive functioning helps with emotional stress as well. So resilience requires a support system. Good family relationships provide the external emotional safety net. High cognitive functioning, which is problem solving, self regulation, provides internal mental tools to process and navigate the stressful situation. So both are vital protective factors. Next question is, a psychologist shows a client a series of ambiguous ink blots and ask what they might be. This psychologist is most likely using. The correct answer is the Rorschach ink blot test. So projective personality test is the concept here. Examiner is checking simple factual recall of psychological testing tools. So option A is also a projective test, which is TAT, the thematic appreciation test, but it uses pictures of social scenes, not ink blots. So this could be the trap. So the Rorschach test uses 10 ambiguous ink blots because they have no set meaning. The subject projects their unconscious fears, motives, and personality traits onto the image when explaining what they see. Next question is, emotional development in early childhood is characterized by the option is, the correct answer is option A, which says uh, emotional development in early childhood is characterized by expression of basic emotions like joy and anger. Yeah, that's true. Basic emotions express a child can express. Beginning of empathy towards others, yeah, that's true as well. But in statement 3, complete emotional regulation, which could be a false. So emotional milestone of early childhood, the concept, and examiner is checking, do we know the limits of a young child's emotional control? The absolute word complete in statement 3 could be a trap. And yes, it is a trap here. So, young children absolutely express basic emotions and begin to show rudimentary empathy. So, rudimentary means very basic or simple. Simple empathy involving or limited to basic things like hugging a crying peer. However, like hugging a crying peer. However, complete emotional regulation in statement 3 is biologically impossible at this age because their prefrontal cortex is still highly underdeveloped. They will still throw tantrums and struggle with impulse control. Okay. In so now let's move to next question. Which of the following activity promotes gross motor development? Correct answer is option 3, which says 1 and 3 only. Running games, debates and discussion? No. Trees climbing. So we have to select gross motor development. So running games, yeah. Debates and discussion could promote cognitive skills but not gross motor development. And tree climbing could help in promote gross motor development. So gross versus fine motor skill is checking here. Can we classify physical versus cognitive activities? Gross motor skills involve large muscle groups like arms, legs, core muscles. Running and trees climbing requires massive bodily coordination and strength. Fitting the definition perfectly, debates are purely cognitive or verbal. Next question is concern with body image. I how one's looks become increasingly important during obviously we know only one, which is adolescence. So psychological hallmarks of adolescence: identifying the life stage most vulnerable to body dysmorphia and appearance anxiety due to rapid physical changes, puberty hormonal shifts, okay, and the peak of the imaginary audience phenomenon, thinking everyone is staring at them. Adolescents are hyperfixation on body image and peer validation. Old age does not share this acute developmental priority. Next is, which of the following are core principles of child development? The correct answer is A, 1 and 2 only. Development is continuous and cumulative. Development proceeds from general to specific responses. 3 is development is uniform in rate of all children. So it is wrong. So principles of growth and development is the concept. Can we spot the difference between the sequence of development and the rate of development? So statement 3 sounds plausible if we rush it. So it is the trap. So be aware. In option 1, in statement 1 actually, development builds continuously on previous stages. It is true. Second is also true. Babies make generalized gross movements from before refining specific fine motor skills. Option 3 or statement 3 is false. While the pattern is similar, the rate of development uh, is highly individualized due to genetics and environment. Some walk at 10 months, others at 15. So it differs person to person or baby to baby. Next question: which of the following pairs of factor best represents the nature and nurture influences on individual differences? Correct answer is genetic makeup and family environment. The concept is nature versus nurture debate. Clear definition of biological versus environmental inputs. So, nature strictly refers to heredity and biology, genetic makeup. Nurture strictly refers to socialization, upbringing, and ex- external surroundings, which could be family, school, neighborhood. So, option B is the pure representation of both source inputs. Now, next question: when children are listening to something, the answer is both 1 and 2. They are learning the language and learning to understand. They are absorbing pronunciation and intonation. So both are true. Receptive language skills. Do you view listening as a passive activity or an active acquisition process? So, listening is the foundation of language acquisition. A child is simultaneously decoding the semantics, which means meaning, and internalizing the phonetics, rhythm, and stress patterns of speech. So, semantics, I hope you are you are well aware about semantics. Semantics means the branch of linguistics, the study of the meaning of words and phrases. Okay, the meaning of words and phrases, the semantics of language. So here it is all the questions from part B, uh, from one of the shifts conducted earlier in Feb, uh, the Dsssb Prt exam. So we can clearly see that pattern heavily favors assertion as reasoning on Vygotsky trick questions using absolute words, complete, unsocial, uniform, and testing real-world classroom application of NCF NEP principles over rote definition. So keep this methodology in mind for your upcoming shifts. We will meet in the next video.